Good afternoon, everybody. Geez, I'm going to be kind of moored to this thing, so I'm going to speak as quickly as possible and not roam too much. Today, I got a chance for the first time ever to meet some of our teammates here in Belfast. We are building a tech hub here in Belfast. Insider is a global digital media company. We need a global team to help support and fuel a global media company. And that starts here in Belfast. I finally got to meet some of these awesome individuals today. It's been awesome. I've met with some of them over time, over video calls. It's not the same. You all know that. So when I get a chance to finally meet colleagues and new colleagues, I'm often asked, John, what's the most important thing we can be solving right now as a tech and product organization? And I usually talk about the typical things you would think of. We need faster pages. We need better user experiences. We need to secure our sites. We need to harness data in a way that is more meaningful, right? And it dawned on me in all of these conversations, what we really need to be building is trust. Trust is one of the most important things you can build in digital media. And our technology fuels trust in a very, very meaningful way. I kind of like this image because it's kind of ethereal and opaque, and you can't really pin it down. You don't know how to measure clouds or anything like that. So trust is a really, really important part of our business. According to the American Press Institute, this is the American Press Institute, the purpose of journalism is to help people make better decisions. The purpose of journalism is to help people improve their lives and their communities and their societies and their governments. The good news is 80% of people agree with this sentiment. 80% of people think that journalism is there to help them make better decisions, to help them make up their minds. So that's good alignment, right? The problem is trust in journalism has never been lower. This is a massive problem for us. If our job is to help inform people, how are we going to do that if they can't trust us? It's really interesting that line took a deep dive in 2016. So I can't see hardly any of you out there, so I'm just going to ask for a show of hands, and I'm going to take it on faith that you're raising your hand or not. How many of you regularly consume digital journalism online? Oh, that is great news for my business. Thank you very much for raising your hand. Now keep your hands up if you think digital journalism is worth paying for. It should be paid for, right? Okay, not as many hands, not as great news for my business. How many of you personally pay for digital journalism? That is not as many people as I had hoped. This is a trick question, by the way. All of you pay for digital journalism, whether you know it or not. So the fact of the matter is you may not be getting your credit card out and buying a subscription. You may be paying with your eyeballs. You're viewing ads, right? That helps pay for digital journalism. You may be paying with your data. You don't know what companies are doing with your data. The old maxim is that if the product is free, then you are the product. So you may be paying with your data. And finally, you're all paying with your attention. You are paying with your attention. You are making a conscious choice for how to spend your time, and you're spending that time with a digital media outlet. Time is the most precious resource we have as human beings. It is the most precious resource, and you're paying with time and attention when you consume something online. Now, the good news is you're all spending way more time doing this than ever before. Double the amount of time is being spent consuming media than 10 years ago. This is 8 hours a day, roughly 8 hours a day, that people are spending consuming media. Now, I'm assuming you're working 8 hours a day, at least 8 hours a day. I hope all of you are getting 8 hours a day of sleep, somehow. The other 8 hours of day, a full third of your day, is meant to be consuming media? That can't be right. When are you spending time with your family and friends? When are you going to the gym or pursuing hobbies? When are you going to movies and restaurants and concerts? When are you pursuing your favorite hobbies? You can't be spending 8 hours a day exclusively on media. The answer here is you're multitasking, you're on the couch watching Netflix and scrolling through Twitter. Please don't do that, it's a bad habit. You're at work checking sports scores, you're multitasking, and that counts towards those 8 hours. And the great news is you've never had more choice on how to spend those 8 hours. This is a chart of 543 media companies charted on a political bias chart. 543 media companies, the vertical axis is reliability. The horizontal axis is perceived media bias, right? Left-right skew. Insider is upwards in the green reliability bar or box, slightly skews left apparently, according to this. That's where Insider is. But I invite any of you to come up here with a Sharpie and circle your favorite media company on this chart. We've never been spending more time consuming media, and we've never had more choice. So how do we decide who to grant that precious attention to? Time, the most valuable asset you have as a human being. Who do you choose to give that to? The answer is trust. And trust starts with a great experience. If you trust an experience, you're more likely to actually pay your time and attention to that experience. Our head of product, Tom Greeny, famously says, if you were to walk into a shop, what would Insider's product be on the shelf, right? This is your virtual shop. What would Insider's product be on the shelf? And the answer is our stories, right? Our journalism is the product that would sit on the shelf in this imaginary store. However, BBC also has a product on the shelf there. New York Times has a product on the shelf there as well. The story can't just be the only part of the product that earns your attention, time, and trust. What differentiates stories and makes them more valuable is the experience and the utility, the helpfulness of it, right? We talked earlier, journalism's purpose is to help people make up their minds. People agree that they want to be helped by journalism. So helpfulness is the most important thing that we can provide alongside that story to make sure it is useful to you and it is differentiated from other stories. That in turn will earn your attention, and that creates habits. As product people, habits are the most important thing that we can create. Right? The whole point of creating a product is so that it's used and reused over and over, and that generates loyalty and trust. Habits aren't necessarily bad things. When I hear the word habit, I always associate it with like bad habit. Habits aren't bad things. Brushing your teeth is a great habit. And I think we can all agree that has massive value. Brushing your teeth is a daily habit that you have because it provides value and it helps you. Our job as product people and as members of the media is to provide value and help you and create these habits. Habits are formed using 4 main aspects. This is neuroscience. Don't take my word for this. This is Nir Eyal, who is a Stanford professor who famously coined the hooked model, which is what this is. So there are 4 main components to creating habits. The first is a trigger. A trigger is invariably an unmet need. It is always a need that you have. I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm bored, I don't know something, I need to know something, I need to make a decision. This is an unmet need that you have, and so you seek out an action to satisfy that unmet need. If that action is valuable enough and creates a situation by which that need is that need is met, thank you, then you are rewarded. You are rewarded by satisfying that need. And there are variations of this reward, but as long as you're rewarded for satisfying that need, you will in turn make an investment. You will invest your time, your energy, your money, perhaps your data in this, and that will help you create an association that takes you through further trips in this model to create that habit. The goal is you need to take dozens, if not hundreds of trips through this cycle to create that habit. And that habit creates an association. I have an unmet need. I immediately associate this media company, this product on the shelf to meet that need. And that's our job, is to create habits that meet needs. A good experience that is hopefully habit forming starts with performance. So at Insider, we are obsessed with page load performance and page performance. As you can see, a couple of seconds of additional load time on a page increases a bounce rate astronomically. Now, a bounce rate for us is a one and done visit. It is the enemy of attention. It is the enemy of trust and habits and loyalty and engagement. A bounce is I maybe don't even wait for the page to load and I split. Or I come in, I don't really feel good about this, and I split and I don't really come back. Bounce rate is the enemy of attention. So we obsess about this at Insider. There are ways that you can measure good page experience using speed. Google came out with a framework last summer called Core Web Vitals. It has really interesting concepts like cumulative layout shift, time to first byte, largest contentful paint, like really human readable stuff. But it is a way to measure the performance and the helpfulness of an experience. The good news is, at Insider, 97.5% of our pages meet that good threshold. It's awesome. We obsess about this. We need to make sure that first and foremost, there is helpfulness in getting you the content that you need very, very quickly and immediately. 97% is awesome. Means there's upside though. There's always room for improvement. The second aspect of performance is security. This should probably be no secret to folks in this room. Having a secure experience is a trustworthy experience. If you can trust that an experience is secure, you are more likely to give it your time and attention. Security for us comes down to three main buckets. There's honoring privacy, user privacy through frameworks like GDPR, the Data Protection Act of 2018, there we have it, CCPA in California. All of these frameworks are good for readers. Protecting privacy is good for the reader, and if it's good for the reader, it's good for us. And it creates an experience that is good, is trustworthy, and is worth their attention. Next is protecting user data. We're a media company, we sell subscriptions. Media companies that sell subscriptions are effectively like e-commerce companies, right? You're taking a credit card, you're entrusted with credit card information. Sure, we don't store it, but we accept that information on our page. We take email addresses on our pages. Email addresses are unique identifiers for all of us on the internet, and that has to be protected. If a reader can trust that we are protecting their privacy and we're protecting their data, that creates more trust. And finally, you have to protect the experience. The experience has to be available. Forget about fast. What if it's not available? The experience has to be available, it has to be secure from DDoS attacks, secure from phishing attacks, ransomware attacks, social engineering, all of those things. I'll never forget, about a year ago, Henry Blodgett, my CEO, came to me and said, John, what are we doing to address ransomware? And I was like, wait, are we being attacked by ransomware? And he said, no. And I'm like, well, why are you asking? This hasn't really been an issue up to this point. Why are you asking about ransomware? And he said, well, last weekend I was trying to buy a ticket on the Nantucket Ferry to go to Nantucket, and I couldn't because the Nantucket Ferry Company's website was being held hostage by a ransomware attack. So, John, if the Nantucket Ferry Company is a juicy enough target for a ransomware attack, think about a global media company and how we could be a target. We have to make sure the experience is secure. If you're a subscriber, a paying subscriber, or you're paying with your attention and the experience isn't available because of malicious actors, there's no trust. Media companies are targets of malicious actors, whether it's because we're a juicy target for all of this awesome data that we have available to us potentially, or it's because you disagree with our politics or our perceived politics. We're a target to malicious actors. We have to secure things. So after you've got a fast experience and you've got a secure experience, what's next? Well, you better have a relevant experience. You better have content that is relevant to what is meeting that unmet need for you as a reader. That's my dog Sunny eating a hot dog. It's probably not the best nutrition for a dog, so maybe I need to find out a little bit more about dog nutrition. So I seek out that content. I have an unmet need. I don't feel like I'm caring for my dog very well. So I go and seek some information. My need is met by having relevant information, credible relevant information. And it starts with the content. But it's not just about the content. Absolutely, it's table stakes for a media company to give you content that is relevant to your interests. But what next? What happens next? We have a ton of what I call next best actions that we can offer to a reader that will potentially spur another trip through that habit loop, right? We have a ton of things that we can offer a reader. Those things have to be relevant. They have to be relevant to the context the reader came from. They have to be relevant to what the reader is interested in. So, should I sign up for a newsletter about pet nutrition or even more pet interests? Should I download your app? Should I read another article about pet insurance, perhaps? These are actions that I can recommend to you as a reader, but they have to be relevant. And they have to be relevant within the context of the content you just consumed, or you're possibly interested in the past, or could be interested in the future. And finally, that relevant experience needs to exist in the right place for you as a reader. You as a reader cannot be assumed to be dragged to our website. That's not how media consumption works anymore in 2022. We have to go where you live. You may be using mobile versus desktop. You may be using an app. You may be reading on Twitter. You may be reading on Facebook or seeing our videos on Snapchat. You may be consuming us through a partnership we have with Yahoo or MSN. We have to make sure that this relevant experience is portable across platforms so it's relevant to wherever you are. And that creates a holistic, relevant experience that is helpful. It is useful to you as a reader. And if it's useful, it's scratching that itch that all of us have in terms of wanting journalism to be helpful and meeting an unmet need. So once an experience is relevant, it's secure, it's fast, what then? Oops. You thought I was going to skip data, didn't you? We're at a tech conference in Northern Ireland. How can I not talk about data? Data is how we power all of this. We have a ton of signals from our readership that we can use to make decisions. We make business decisions based on them all the time. We calculate how likely you are to subscribe as a reader. These power business insights. We have 45,000 readers on our site at any given second. That's a lot of signals that we can use and harness to help create these relevant experiences for our readers. We have traffic data. We have referral data. Did you come from Google or Facebook or another article? We have third-party data, anonymous third-party data, but we also have first-party data. Maybe you've given us an email address in the past or you're a subscriber. We have segmentation data that says this reader behaves in a way that is like this other reader that's more well-known. All of these signals help us power business decisions, but what if they could help us automate product features to create a more relevant experience for you, a more helpful experience for you that then generates trust? That's what we need to be doing with data. And if we can take that, forget about likelihood to subscribe. What if it's LTX, likelihood to do ... likelihood to read another article, likelihood to sign up for a newsletter, likelihood to click on a link and purchase through one of our links, which gives us affiliate revenue. If we can calculate that based on what we know about you as a reader, we can create a more helpful and relevant experience. And that's good for you. That's good for us, obviously, but that's good for you as a reader. It is creating more utility and more helpfulness and scratching that unmet need itch. And so we want to make sure that we're using data in the most powerful way that we possibly can to provide that more relevant experience that is unique to you. If we're able to successfully do that, you will take that fourth step in the hooked model and you will create an investment, right? You will invest your time. You will maybe pull out a credit card and subscribe because the experience is so relevant or the content is so relevant in our subscription product that you will subscribe to it. You will make an investment in data, right? You maybe will give us an email address. There has to be a value exchange here, right? We're not asking for something for nothing. We are asking for information or collecting information that allows us to help you and be more useful and more relevant. There has to be that value exchange, and you have to realize that value exchange. It can't just be transparent, or it can't just be in the background. It has to be transparent, but it also has to be very apparent to you that you are getting something for this. I am subscribing and I'm getting value. I am giving you an email address and I'm getting a more relevant experience. That investment is what keeps you coming back, and that value exchange keeps you coming back, and it creates trust. I am investing in you, you are investing in us. And that cycle then continues and is somewhat virtuous. So that investment is a really crucial part of this whole picture, and that puts a bow on trusted experiences. Fast, secure, relevant, and worth investing in. That takes us through the hook model. So in practical terms, what does that look like? As a reader, what does that look like? The analogy I've started using is when you visit our properties, I want you as a reader to feel like a regular at your favorite restaurant, right? And what makes you feel like a regular at your favorite restaurant? First of all, you're a regular. You make repeat visits. Why do you make repeat visits? Because there's tons of value there. They know you. They give you perks. They know your dietary restrictions. They know your habits, right? So all of these things create this massive virtuous value stream for you as a visitor and for the restaurant. So I want people to feel like when I visit my favorite restaurant in Brooklyn, New York, Lot 2, it's where I had my 50th birthday party, 2 years late because of the pandemic. So technically I'm still 50. So I had my 50th birthday party there. And why? It's because it feels like home. It feels so normal and natural to be there. They know me and my family. When I walk in, they know us by name. They know what we like and they know what we don't like. It's the only place in New York City my kids will eat salad. So there is tremendous value in going there. They know what we like. They know my youngest doesn't like cheese on her hamburger for some reason. They know our favorite cocktails. And so we feel well taken care of. And if we are regulars, maybe sometimes we get a little something off to the side. We get special access. We get a special cocktail. We get a special appetizer. They want to try something with us. We are trusted and we trust them. And so we get a little special access that not everyone gets. And if we want to be surprised, if we want to go off menu, they will surprise us in a way that feels completely natural and completely normal because they know us so well. Yes, it's a surprise, but it's completely consistent with the experience that we've had up to that point and is completely awesome. And finally, we're willing to invest in this experience. When I have the unmet need of, I need dinner, or I need a burger, or I need to feed my kids, I think of Lot 2 first and foremost. Because I'm known, they know what we like, they surprise us, they treat us well, and I want to pay for that. I am willing to pay for that. Yes, every once in a while, maybe I get a perk off to the side, I get a free drink, I get something comped, but I do not want a freebie out of this. I want to pay for this. In America, we overtip for this experience, fascinatingly enough, because I want this restaurant to exist. I want this restaurant to stay around so I can get that experience whenever I want. So that's what we want to build at Insider. We want to build the Lot 2 for the internet so that everybody feels like a regular whenever they visit our products. Thank you very much. I am happy to entertain questions. I can see you now. A microphone is coming for anybody who wants questions. It's all good.
Sorry? No? Does anybody have any questions? We get going? Okay. Thank you so much, John. You must have covered everything in perfect detail. Thank you. Let's give John a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Thank you.